Flint as a whole and the entrepreneurship has had a huge impact. I feel like in Flint it's such a gritty town. You go through a lot. I feel like there is nothing different from the drug dealer, from the entrepreneur, besides misguided steps. I feel like everybody has the opportunity if you seize it. If anything, I can tell anybody that's watching this interview is to show up to a place like 100K and keep on showing up. And the reason why I'm saying that is because ultimately you help. Like you said before, once a client, always a client. And that's important because ultimately there will be times where you hit these roadblocks and that you're gonna wanna stop or you don't know what's next to do. And that's how you find yourself in the street. That's how you find yourself doing things that you don't wanna do or working 3 jobs instead of working on the skill that God gave you. With something like 100K, I think that it's important to stay connected and to stay in touch because it keeps the fire alive. It keeps on stoking that relevancy to make sure that you stay on task. Flint is nothing more than everything to me. And I want to push others in you guys' direction.
100K was really a launch point for us feeling that we could actually develop a business and take our idea and move it forward, which meant we need to get people to use it, we needed to get feedback, we needed to improve our product. We were able to hook into a loop that really enriched and helped us nail what we wanted to provide for people as they learn how to build their own math skills through this program. To tell you a little bit about how I started on my journey, it's kind of interesting because I began the entrepreneurial part at about age 65. So prior to that, I had taught math since 1976. So I have a lot of math background and I've worked with a lot of students in math, and no surprise, a lot of people have trouble with math. So Ed Kulka and I are both math teachers. Our experience was people, once they fall behind in math, they stay behind in math. And that's not a secret because it's been going on for years and years. As we were getting towards retirement, we had been programming and playing with the idea of how to provide a software that we would have liked as teachers. We broke out of we're a teacher, now we're programmers and designers. And we're looking for a way to start a business. Quick description of what the software is and does. First of all, its name is Number DNA, based on the idea that every number has DNA. The DNA would be its factors. What Ed and I found is the number one missing link, so to speak, in students trying to catch up in math, or why did they fall behind, is because they never really learn their numeracy skills, which would be your add, subtract, multiply, divide. But if you don't have that in mind as you go up the ladder, so to speak, you're behind and you tend to stay behind. So our goal was to attack the problem, realizing so many other people have done it before. So we, number one, had the challenge of how to design. Number two, how to make it interesting. So we decided on the following. Number one, math will bore the daylights out of people unless you keep it short and sweet. So our workouts, that we call them, take no more than 3 minutes. And as soon as you're done, you get instant feedback and the next step to complete a series of workouts that will lead you to a 90% mastery. If you think of it as like there are 12 steps to success in numeracy, we built all those into the programming. The first adopter of our software is up here in Flint, Matt Campbell, and took off with it in Flint from there. And after that, I heard about 100K. That's when things really started to take hold. Right from the beginning of writing our business plan, received the folder, but more than anything else, I had really great conversations because it was very clear that people cared. So I really felt like I could be myself with all my ignorance towards how to start a business. And that made it very easy for people at 100K to give me the help that they had to offer.
100K has been nothing short of an absolute necessity. I can honestly say I wouldn't be here without 100K, just because the idea and the concept is one thing, but to take it into get along with the team and be able to thoroughly lay out and map out the next steps. And then the execution and the follow-up, these things are essential in order to make a dream come from thought to reality. And with the help of the team at 100K, the very large team at 100K doing so many different things, I'm not exactly sure that I'll be here. So VSpec 360 is a virtual reality or virtual touring company. And we do 3D tours for colleges, which was mainly focused on the students being able to find their way around schools. Somehow, some way through the grace of God, we've actually managed to build this thing. And now we're working with security companies and potentially the FBI and airports. And so it's more so becoming a security company when it comes to the things that we can do inside of the 3D tour. We can post videos, we can make label and tag things, we can do intake forms. And this stuff is important because we just did a deal with Hamilton Health Community Clinic. They wanted to go paperless. They are spending out thousands of dollars a month doing these print off paper COVID checks that they've been doing for the past, I don't know, couple years now. And they hired us, and now all of a sudden everything is paperless. So now not only are they saving money, but then also we don't have to worry about the actual virus being spread throughout the actual clinic because everybody can now do things that they need to do from their own telephone, which makes it just really, really seamless. And that's essentially how we plan on helping every community or that every business group that we focus on, whether it be schools or airports, for instance, security companies. Actually, we were working with the Flint Police Department and Flint Fire Department. Police, they're going to use it for active crime scenes. There will be no more left behind or we weren't able to find this piece of evidence. No, everything down to a grain of salt can literally be picked up on these cameras. Anything indoors, outdoors, we can capture it, and therefore you're not depending solely on the notes that was written by that detective in order to fulfill a case. As far as the fire department goes, they're using our technology for inspections. Often they find that people will set up everything to code when they're building a space, but then no sooner than the fire inspector leaves, well, now they're gonna move the wall 2 feet back or get rid of this closet, we're gonna make it into a bedroom. And they didn't know if this was the code then or not. Well, with our technology, they're able to go back and see directly that this is what it looks like, this is what it should look like. And then we also, we have the capability of printing out floor plans as well. And those are the types of things that we plan on doing to continue to help everybody do their jobs just a little bit better. As far as the actual how my company came or started, at the time I was with a young lady and her mother was selling her house and I was attempting to help her. COVID started. That's just what it is. And there was no way that you could sell a house through or during COVID. So we were looking for somebody to do a 3D tour of our house and we couldn't find anybody. Necessity being, the mother of all invention. And, well, let me see what I can do. And so that's how we initially started, which is in the residential real estate market. And now it's grown to something that we can't even see. So yeah, that's how we started.
My journey's kind of been on and off as far as being directed versus a little bit gray area, but I'm from Flint, so I'm a Flint native. I went to Carmen High School and graduated. After that, I thought I wanted to do engineering. Like I was good at math and science. All my teachers were like, yeah, you should really do this, and catering's here. So I went to Michigan in Ann Arbor and got a chemical engineering degree. But during that process, I just wasn't quite feeling it. I thought I was gonna go into pharmaceuticals, but one summer I was doing an internship and volunteering in New Orleans, and I just realized I really wanted to do patient care. So my senior year at Michigan, I decided to finish my engineering degree, but apply to this thing called medical school and figure out how to be a doctor. So I eventually got into Georgetown University, graduated from there, and during that process, figured out that I liked family medicine, which means I see adults and children, that I can have this whole spectrum of care, but also be a really good community doctor and get into public health and policy work. So I specialized in family medicine, and I always knew during this path that I was gonna come home. I was lucky enough to land in Flint in 2020 after my residency. I was at home taking care of my community and really excited about that process. During that time, I just had more challenges when it came to really providing care and having that continuity opportunity and impact that I wanted. And I realized that in the system that I was in, that it wasn't quite working for me or my patients, and I wanted to do something different. So that's where direct primary care and Harris Family Health kind of came about. Me going out on my own and starting my own clinic was a process, but doing the direct primary care model of not accepting or billing insurances and doing this monthly membership-based primary care service made it more accessible to a lot of people and a lot more inviting and different. Harris Family Health is Flint's first direct primary care clinic. At its base, it's new, it's innovative. People aren't quite sure what it is, but are like, this makes sense. This is how I should be accessing care. And it just simplifies a lot of things. Instead of being complicated or complex or gray area when it comes to insurance and knowing if it's gonna cover something or if you're gonna be able to have enough time with your doctor, it just kind of says, I am trying to provide good medical care to my patients, and I'm also trying to have them have a good patient experience. So with Harris Family Health, I can offer more time. The average amount of time in the traditional system is 13 to 16 minutes. That's including like getting there and going through the hallway and talking to these other people, and you might get that full 13 minutes, but you also might just get 8. What I'm doing is offering people up to 60-minute appointments, and that's very flexible. If you're like, Dr. Harris, I think I need more time than that, then we just kind of work that out. Like, I'm not bound by the idea that you have to have an appointment for me to talk to you. I'm not bound by the idea that you have to go through all these people to get to me. Like, I'm here for my patients. I'm trying to be a resource so they can get more time with me. They get more direct contact. So instead of going through phone tag or a call center, they get my direct backdoor number as a patient member line. They're able to call me during business hours, after hours, and knowing that I'm answering.
Hello, this is Harris Family Health. This is Dr. Harris speaking.
So this innovative path really spoke to me. I committed to it. I built up the process of learning how to do the business side of medicine and just business stuff in general, and combined that with my medical knowledge and started Harris Family Health. And we are fresh and new and in downtown, and I'm excited for what we can do for Flint and Genesee County. Being someone who was raised in Flint, to come back and practice medicine and be like a doctor in the community, it's really morphed my perspective of what's going on in the community. If anything, this has made me a lot more steady. As people have learned about it, I think they realize that at the minimum base, they can prioritize their health. But there's so much potential with Harris Family Health and direct primary care in this county. It's gonna be a beautiful thing when people realize that they can take care of themselves and it makes sense. And it's just like going to the grocery store. It's just like going to some random mom and pop place. I'm just providing primary care services.
Well, I hope the world benefits from this program eventually, and that it all starts here in Flint, number one. The people that so far have been benefiting from it are after-school programs through Youth Quest, through the Chamber. Beecher Schools, right in the middle of the pandemic, had a call out for help. We donated a year subscription, and they used it extensively during the pandemic. Recently, we have made lots of connections. This latest one was with the help of the Community Foundation of Greater Flint. We got a big grant. We're starting numeracy centers at a lot of the neighborhood centers. So that would include Sylvester Brome Empowerment Village, Latinx, Boys and Girls Club of Greater Flint. But the one person and place that really helped me the most was the Flint Development Center and the Sparks sisters, Shelley and Sunny. And all of them see kids, and kids have been using it, and they've been giving us lots of feedback, and that's improved our product. Our goal is to succeed here in Genesee County and hopefully make those steps out to the rest of Michigan and the country and the world.
Being a Flint native, there's nothing more that I want to do than to give back. The first thing that we started was our BAG program. BAG program is an after-school program that focuses on entrepreneurship, specifically for the C+B- students, because those actually tend to be the best entrepreneurs. We want to show them mindset, how we can actually grow this, and then we're going to teach them practical skills, get them certifications, and by the time that they graduate, they can enter into the job market demanding at bare minimum of $90,000 a year, when the average in tech is actually $115 to $130 at this exact moment, and it's only going up. So when you talk about a leg up, they didn't have to go and get $60,000 in debt in order to be able to make $100,000 a year. They can do it, and it's all been done beforehand. So that's our goal.
I really feel like during this process, I've realized how many people have not been accessing care. Like I knew there were people, like in my previous job, like people would come in and say, oh, I haven't been to a doctor in a while. But as I've gone through this journey of opening up Harris County Health, more people that I know on a regular basis were like, I haven't been to a doctor in forever. I don't actually have insurance. Like the last time I went, it cost this much. And I'm just like cringing at the aspect that now I'm offering something that people are like, oh, it only costs that much? That relief on their face and them kind of like turning the wheels of saying like, maybe my health isn't something that I need to like brush under the rug. Maybe it's something that I actually can put forth and prioritize and take advantage of this new thing. I'm hoping that Harris County Health is not the first and last direct primary care clinic in Flint. And the beauty of the, awareness, campaign stuff or just talking to people about Harris County Health is they recognize, one, that it's a little bit weird over there in the traditional system, that it's not really always focused on the patients, but knowing that there is a way across the country for people to access care, I think just is a beautiful thing. When I decided to go out on my own, relearning about the details of the 100K Ideas pitch competition was kind of a little bit of a game changer in the sense that I was doing this with no funds. So that was an opportunity itself to possibly get some money to kind of spearhead this and support this. Even though I didn't win the pitch competition, I won the People's Choice, which is great. So I'm like, that was even more like, oh, the community likes this. Like, they're like, you might not have won the big one, but we want you. At the time of the competition, I was only a couple weeks into people knowing. That was the first time I had kind of got it off of my living room couch and out of my family's conversations and actually into the community. And so the pre-sessions before the pitch competition helped me really develop what I was gonna say to people, why I was doing this as far as a consumer standpoint or a community standpoint. I knew what I could offer as a doctor, but people were very, I won't say stuck, but people know the insurance system. People had no idea what direct primary care is. I'm like, how am I gonna share this? I have no idea. And so going through the sessions leading up to the pitch competition and me going through those exercises and realizing what I should say, what I shouldn't say, how I should say it was a nice challenge. And then to finally get to the pitch competition, to say this in front of people that I don't know, to have it live streamed, to be like, okay, so this is when the Flint community and Genesee County community is gonna really hear what I'm doing. But it was just so exciting. That September competition really, it took the dust off of everything. It was like, nope, you're showing it, it's out there, let's do this. But having at the beginning when I was really raw in the process of being a business owner was really great to just grow and learn through that challenge. And so I appreciate that experience.
My favorite thing about 100K so far has probably been next steps. It puts you in touch with the resources that are needed in order for you to be successful. The reason why I like next steps is because there are so many things in your community, it is specifically in my community, that I was not aware of. I was not aware of a program that you can go to and just bring an idea and somebody is able to help you. From manufacturing to being able to go and do 3D printing or services to help you write out for grants. Things like that, I was not aware that they were even possible, let alone that they were already set in place to be able to actually help me succeed. Being able to be now aware of that and being able to share that amongst my friends, colleagues, or whoever, that it's a huge thing because we don't share a lot of information. So to be able to have that at my fingertips, those resources, they like I said, they play a huge role in the success that I have.
My favorite is the accessibility. I come downtown, I can come into the Ferris wheel, I can sit at the table, work, I can consult with Brandy or whomever is there. And that was very reassuring. I really enjoy that part. But it goes back to the fact that people are extremely willing to help me along my way. I remember having discussions about how to make it more interesting. And I think it was Tyler who helped me from 100K, and he had some great ideas about just simply having icons. And that's something we just added in the last 6 months. So every icon, every time you finish a 3-minute workout successfully, you get a baby icon, and there's a circle with 10 baby icons, and once you get the 10, you get the full icon. That's really been a popular piece in the last half year. And if you were to ask me what benefits 100K has to the community. It's all the benefits I receive, and that is accessibility to people that will listen to your ideas, evaluate your ideas, and then actually provide help in taking your next steps. If you were thinking of taking the leap into business, my advice would be persistent and ask questions. A lot of us have an idea that is close to our heart, and we're protecting it, but once you begin to open it up and other people give you feedback, that's really enriching. 100K does that. I really felt that they were behind me all the way, and I think other people would feel the same way too.
If there's someone who has an idea, if it's an infancy or just kind of some random thought, I think the first advice I would give is just to start. Even if it's a small thing, but there are so many resources in the Flint and Genesee County community that even the smallest idea can be nurtured into something. Once you verbalize something and it becomes a lot more real, you find out that there's so many other people who are like, I can help you connect with someone, or I can help you with this. All these things start happening once you get it out of your head and just verbalize it. Surprisingly, there's a lot of people who, even if they don't know how to help you, there's still supportive people out there. They're like, I don't know what to do with your idea, but I really want you to keep at it. And even those nudges of encouragement can really bring some great projects and businesses into the community.
If I could tell any entrepreneur anything, show up, read. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you show up every single day, you're going to build something regardless. Even if you're only there for 5 minutes a day, so you find yourself doing things that you normally wouldn't do because you showed up. The next thing is read. The reason why I say read is because we are living in the best age so far. I don't care what anybody says, there's nothing like the internet. There are people who have PhDs and master degrees, and they've taken their time and they've written about it and they've posted it on the internet. 9 times out of 10, the problem that you're looking to solve as an entrepreneur, somebody has already written about. And so now it's just a matter of taking it and tweaking it just a little bit. I think that so often we focus on the perfection, and everything has to be this certain quality of high stakes and high gain all the time. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. I mean, that's what school teaches us, is that we are aiming for an A, and anything less than an A is not acceptable. Well, in reality, most of the things that we come across are C+, B- at average. I'm not saying to short your gift or not give it your all, but understand when enough is enough to keep the momentum going. Because if I'm going out for a run and I take 40 minutes trying to get the perfect tie on my running shoes, I'll probably never go running. So sometimes you do have to tuck them in and just go, because you need to keep the momentum. Those are my words of advice.
Teachers really feel like they're up against it. You start teaching, you have 100 kids every day, and if you give one assignment, that's 100 things you have to check, return, and so on. And so they don't have time really to do more than teach the curriculum and move forward versus go back and help 2/3 of the class that's behind. So it's a sad state of affairs that it just doesn't work. And so people have looked at remediating outside of the classroom versus in the classroom. Our product, I think, would go very well in parallel with all that. You can teach your curriculum, but work through something that's already there and ready to backfill concepts that are missing. What do I see for the future of our company? I think we've got about 20% of what we need. That's another big 80%. If you think about it, video gaming, they invest tens of millions of dollars just to make one game for entertainment. That kind of money is not typically spent on educational software. So my goal is to find an angel out there who believes in our mission and is willing to back it with the kind of money that's needed to actually develop our product.
Our goal is to benefit everybody who has a cell phone. Our goal is to benefit everybody who has a cell phone. And the reason why is because cell phones are ubiquitous now, right? Technology is ubiquitous. It's literally the one thing that you can count on that everybody's gonna have in their pocket is probably a cell phone. Even before a pen, you can count on somebody having a cell phone. Well, when it comes down to students, they'll be able to find their way around schools. When it comes to the traveler, they'll be able to find their way around the airport. When it comes to the inspector, he'll be able to find his way around a space, and actually those floor plans that help in case of a fire. We have all of that information compiled into one space for anybody to use at the drop of a hat. And obviously it's secure, but that is why it's important, and it's because it can be transferred from one person to the next in case of emergency, or if you're on the public side of things, you now get to experience the fun of being able to go through this space and do things a little bit more quickly, like the Hamilton Health Clinic. You know, you don't have to go and fill out a paper. Now you can just on your cell phone, and that's who we try to help, the everyday person.
So the future question is interesting because I'm very fresh into the beginning, but immediately I just see kind of a slow growing medical clinic in downtown Flint. Broadly, I really want direct primary care to not just be Harris Family Health in Flint and Genesee County. I really want, the medical students, the residents, even people outside of this county to slowly start bringing direct primary care more into this space, because I think it's a great alternative for people to have. I ultimately want Harris Family Health to be this thriving medical office. So the vision is for Harris Family Health to be on the second floor of a storefront, and there to be some art gallery community space on the first floor. But there's so much potential with Harris Family Health and direct primary care in this county. As people have learned about it, I think they realize that at the minimum base, they can prioritize their health. So being able to just offer people that kind of just another notch in their belt as far as a tool for their life and what they're planning on doing is really exciting. If anything, this has made me a lot more steady in a sense that I don't plan on leaving my own clinic and keep this option as something that's continuous and stable in the community. I don't want it to be gone in a year. That's not the plan. I want it to be thriving for multiple years and to be the base for other people who eventually do come into the community and start their own direct primary care clinics.